Hello, testing. Mic check. Mic check. Do. Yep, we are good. I am going to switch over. Hello, Mr. Frike. How are you on this Thursday? Or probably Friday where you're at now. Let me switch over. Nice. Alright. Get this ready and focused. A while, so I think I can hear myself. There we go. Mute myself. I'm doing alright. Happy to be here. Happy to be doing some more painting. Hello, Hololai. How are you today? As you guys can see here, we have some faces that need some cleanup. So today that will be the bulk of what we are doing. We got pretty far last time, I guess, in terms of working on stuff. So we got the base layers down at least for all of these parts at this point, the faces and then her shoes, and then we cleaned up her apron. Oh, you're tired? Well, I hope that you get some good rest and that you're not too tired, because that is always super draining. But yeah, so we finished, I guess we did finish most of the work on her apron back here. So all of these purple parts are stuff that we painted. Hi, Alysor. Yeah, we're getting places. Interesting, seeing who's popping in on this Thursday instead of Wednesday. Doing kind of a trial run here. Sorry for you guys who weren't able to catch me yesterday. I was just so busy. But it's good that I was only able to push it one day back, because I still did want to do it, you know, twice a week. So yeah, this is what we'll be working on today. We'll be doing these faces primarily. So I'm going to be basically just wiping away paint until I get a shape that I want. As you guys can see, the paint application here is pretty messy. So we really just laid down the base layer to make sure that her eyelashes were all covered in paint, and then now we're gonna go in and do the cleanup and get those eyelashes looking super sharp. I appreciate it, Allie. Yeah, I didn't put anything out like on Twitch about not having a stream, but I did put it on like an Insta story because I was like, oh, that'd be weird if, like, you know, I didn't say anything. But yeah, we're here now. So yeah, a lot of this is going to be cleaned up today. You guys can see the eyes are kind of spooky right now. The lines are not very clean, so I'm hoping to get all of that down and refined today. So I'm also going to try to keep a lot of the stuff that I'm using out of the frame of the shot, because I noticed when I looked at the VOD that a lot of times my camera just tries to focus on other stuff besides the faces. Like even my hand, if I put my hand here, it just goes for my hand and not the faces. So I'm hoping that that will make it better. You guys will be able to see what I'm doing a little more, see the paint that I'm wiping off. You can see I kind of started it here, so by the end of this stream we're gonna get like a lot of these little brown marks. And so yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it, I guess. And I'll be brushing enamel off. Feel free to ask questions at any time. And I do have a little cup here full of enamel thinner, so if you see me reaching up and dipping my brush, then I will, like, that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep it out of the shot. What camera do I use? I have a Canon Rebel SL2. So it's a DSLR camera, but at this point it's pretty old in the market. There are definitely probably better ones out there at this point, and I'm starting to feel the age of it, so I had it for a long time. But yeah, it's a pretty decent DSLR. I never really had any issues with it, so I can't complain. It's just I don't usually use it for streaming, so that's the interesting part. Like, this is the first time I've done so much video with it. Usually I just take photos with it. So okay, we're gonna start with this face. There's a little less that needs to happen with this face, other than like all of the outline here, which we'll need to go in and correct. So what I'm basically gonna do is just enter my gremlin mode here and hunch over and just start wiping paint away. So I have a very tiny brush before I get started, I guess. I'll show you guys the size brush I'm using. It will let me, there we go. really tiny. This is a Tamiya specialty paintbrush, so I don't know the equivalent of the, you know, size in terms of regular paintbrushes, but it is part of the Tamiya line. So let's see. Tamiya Modeling Brush Pro 2, and this is model number 87172. So this is one of the smallest ones that Tamiya makes, and I'm just kind of using it. I found it in my closet, so I don't usually use a brush this tiny, but I've been dealing with a lot of really small stuff lately. Chibi kits, small scales, this kit, so it's just easier for me to handle it. And then I always do a lot of short brush strokes and small brush strokes, so this is handy for that. Can I still produce good eyes with acrylic paint? Absolutely, Hollow Eye. So what I'm doing right now is basically enamel eye painting, and that's usually a step that's used in conjunction with lacquer painting, lacquer airbrush painting. But I painted acrylic eyes for many years before I switched to lacquer paint. And so thinking about like my hobby career here, I think we covered it before, I don't quite remember, but I only started working with lacquer since 2018. And before that, I basically just hand painted / worked with acrylics. And so all the kits I painted up until that point were done, you know, with acrylic paint or markers. So a lot of times I went in and I used, I actually have one on my desk. I used Micron ink, so these Sakura pens. I used to use these a lot when I was painting and working with eyes on kits when I used acrylics. So the point on these is, again, really tiny, probably just as small as, you know, a paintbrush. So you can get really tiny lines with that. You see on my finger, yeah. So yeah, I use these all the time back when I, you know, was working with acrylic. You don't have a lot of room for forgiveness with pens like that, and so you want to be careful that you know where you're going to put your eye. So a lot of times you can like sketch them out with a pencil or do other things and then put them in on top. And I also do have an eye guide, 2 eye guides actually, for painting eyes with acrylic paint on my website. So if you go to my website, plumworkshop.com, under the guides section, I have my regular garage kit guide, so like how to build a garage kit, and eyes are covered in that. But I also have, I think towards the very bottom, a quick guide on painting anime garage kit eyes with acrylic paint. So I think I used a pen for that one too, so just a heads up. But that was kind of like, you know, why not make it? So, because people ask, you know, and they're not sure, they're scared. A lot of what I realized, what I did was like the same steps here. I worked in a lot of thin layers. I did, you know, 1 layer at a time. So I would paint the white of the eye, then I would paint the, you know, eye outline like we're doing now. The only difference is you couldn't wipe it away. So, like you can, but I don't know, I felt like acrylics, you couldn't wipe it away quite as easily. You get some smudges. Enamels, there's a lot more room for wiping things away and more forgiveness. So a lot of the techniques that I'm using now are stuff that I've actually used for years. I just have a better medium that allows me to be more exact. So yeah, hand painting eyes can be scary no matter what. But whether you're using acrylics or enamels or anything, it's all the same steps, you know. So the trick is just get a lot of practice in. That's pretty much everything. And let's see, gotcha. What made me change paint types? Mostly my switch to lacquer Hollow Eye. So I had been seeing the enamel eye painting method for many years. And a lot of times that is used in conjunction with lacquer paint, and so really when I wanted to do enamel eyes, you kind of have to make the jump to lacquer paint just because of different paint strengths. So the whole reason why this method works, the enamel wiping method, is because lacquer paint is stronger than enamel paint. And so what you guys can see me doing now is I'm, you know, very carefully removing all of this brown paint here, but it's not removing the skin tone underneath. And that's because when we put this thinner on top, it's strong enough to melt away the enamel paint, but not strong enough to melt away the lacquer paint. So you're essentially using a weaker paint and a weaker thinner and putting it on top, and then you're able to remove your mistakes that way. The problem with acrylics is that if you're putting acrylic on top of acrylic, when you wipe away your mistakes in acrylic, you risk also wiping away your mistakes with the enamel or the acrylic paint underneath. Does that make sense? So here we're using kind of a stronger and weaker paint approach, but acrylic, you're using the same type. So you do risk removing that if you're trying to wipe away mistakes. And that happened to me many, many times over the years. So really, like, yeah, I'm more impressed with people who can paint eyes in acrylic because it takes a lot more work, and you don't have as much leeway. Like you can kind of mess up pretty quickly. So there's different approaches to each one, but I appreciate all the methods, And also, I do want to add that you're able to do this enamel method and the lacquer paint method because after you finish painting a layer, so like after I finish, painting these eyelashes and we got them nice and good, we're going to coat them with a gloss top coat. And then any of the paint we put on after that will not affect these eyelashes. So you're basically putting on a lacquer top coat and getting your skin nice and shiny and protected. You paint on your eyelash like we're doing now, and then you're going to top coat it again so both your skin and the eyelash are protected. And that lacquer top coat, the lacquer gloss top coat, will protect both layers after that. And so you can just keep adding on thin layers of enamel, thin layer of top coat, etc., until you get your eyes where you want them. And for whatever reason, like, you are able to put on lacquer gloss top coat on top of enamel. Haven't worked out the specifics of why that happens, but it's got to be thin layers. If it's not thin layers of the gloss top coat, then your enamel is going to dissolve and just kind of like, spread out over your kit, and it's not going to be a good time. Hello, Loki Juice. How are you doing today? We were just discussing kind of slightly the chemical reasons why we're able to do what we do on these eyelash painting and everything. Basically, we're using gloss and then, painting on top of it and vice versa, blah, blah, blah. You're good? Yes, I'm doing very well. Got a lot of work done yesterday, and it's been pretty nice today, so I can't complain. It'll be even nicer once we finish these eyelashes, though. Then I'll be in a real good mood. We'll see how long this will take. In all honesty, guys, I am expecting these eyes to probably take the entire stream, just because we're also dealing with 2 faceplates. So that's another thing. Like, if you get a kit with 2 faceplates, just be prepared to spend twice the time, because it does take a while to paint a face, an anime style face on a garage kit, and then multiply it by 2. Good. Glad you're doing good, Loki Juice. Yeah, whenever I get 2 face plates in a kit, I'm just like, oh boy, like, twice the work. Not necessarily a bad thing, because it's fun when they come with different expressions, but a lot of times that means you have to go in with magnets and then make sure that both the faceplates fit properly, and sometimes, like we saw with this kit, the sculptor prioritizes making one faceplate fit well and the second one is an afterthought, and so that is often a little annoying. I tried putting this face here so it would be able to focus on this one too, but I'm not sure how well that's working. Let me move this one and see. No, that's really good on that one. Let me move this and see if it will focus on this face or if it's just gonna focus on my hand. Let's see. Do I ever sell these afterwards or take commissions? Yes, actually. I don't sell my own personal works, so a lot of these types of kits, like this one, I purchase at festivals, and they're usually for myself. I don't really get rid of those ones, mostly because I bought it because I liked the sculpt or I wanted to paint it a certain way or something. But I do offer commissions. They are closed right now, and they will be closed indefinitely in the future because I was accepted to graduate school that starts in August. So right now I have like a bunch of kits that were still on my wait list that I wasn't sure, you know, how my schedule would be, and so my priority was wrapping all of those waitlisted kits up before I accepted new work. And then I got accepted to grad school, and so I kind of was trying to wrap up every kit that was on my wait list, and then from there on, you know, see how grad school is, and if it's really not that much of a deal, which probably won't be the case, then I would open up commissions again. But really my whole like motto for all of this was trying not to give people false expectations or leave people waiting for a really, really long time. And so I'd rather just accept what I can handle. So right now, all those people on my wait list are, you know, waiting, but I'm getting through them. I do have two I'm working on now actually, and so hoping to get most of this stuff done by the time I start school. Thank you. And have I ever used decal eyes? No, I have not actually. I guess technically I kind of have, but it wasn't for like an anime girl character or an anime boy character. It was a very little, tiny little, you know, googly eye decals that I used on this character that came with a kit. And so for the main character, I've never used decals. Even when I've wanted to, like I've gotten kits from clients and I'm like, oh, decals, like, do you want me to use the decals? And they go, no, I want you to paint them. You know, a lot of people like my style because I, you know, do paint all of my eyes. And so I have not had a chance to use them, even though I have been supplied with them many times at this point. There are a couple of kits that I have in my closet that do have decal eyes still. And I would like to try them out because I really like the way that they look. A lot of times that is not the case, so I'm pretty picky when it comes to decals. And sometimes, like, sculptors add them, but I'm just not feeling them. Like, they don't seem to suit the face well, or maybe they, you know, come out a little different than what I expect. Sometimes when you print decals, they, you know, look different, but yeah, a lot of times I get them and I'm not happy with them, and so I end up painting out my own eyes anyway. So at this point, I'm just like, I pretty much expect to paint eyes, especially if a kit comes with decals, like from a client. But I'm always willing to use them, and I do use decals often for other things. Sorry, man. Whoa, what the? It like focused and then it didn't. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I have used decals a fair number of times on other things, but it's usually small accessories or making my own decals. I do that as well. So I usually like print them out and put them onto a base, and that's a really easy base idea, just like an acrylic plate with a decal. And so yeah, I have a lot of experience with decals, mostly water slide decals, but not for eyes, not eye decal. Printing your own decals is really easy too. If you guys have ever, you know, thought about doing it or have considered doing it, really all you need is decal paper. And so you can buy like decal paper at a craft store or online, and then you need a can of gloss sealer and a printer, and that's pretty much it. Because what you'll do is you'll, you know, get your symbol or whatever you want to print and put on your kit, and you'll print it out, and then you will coat that paper with the gloss top coat, and that's to protect it, and then you'll just use it as like a regular decal. So yeah, it seems like really scary and intimidating, but it's one of the easiest things to do actually. Just make sure you have good paper. Let's see, I was looking at gun decals and the company made different eyes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with using those at all, Mr. Frike. In fact, I do link them to people who, you know, are concerned about eye painting, or maybe their kit's eyes are too small or something, and so they just want to use a decal. Definitely an option. A lot of, you know, Robo Girl type kits, I think, actually come with them as well. So I'm not super familiar with those types, like Frame Arts Girls or the Megami Device Girls. So I can't say if they come with, you know, water slide or regular sticker decals, but that is an option as well. And I think that there are probably also places at this point that sell different anime girl styled ones. So that would be an interesting thing to look into. I wonder if Booth actually has anime decals. It seems like they would. It's definitely, like, painting eyes is one of the scariest parts about the kit, I think. And to me, at least, it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have in this. Like, you just get more confident over the time, but I still definitely hesitate when it comes to certain face plates and stuff, painting them, so. But yeah, the more you work on them, the easier it'll get, so. The trick is just to go into it and then improve over time. Because even this far in the game, there's still times when I mess up, and you know, you just gotta keep going, no matter what. Okay, I'm noticing that I didn't paint all of this face, this eyelash, so I think I'm gonna have to go in and thin some more of my paint and get this to where I want it. It looks like I just kind of stopped shy of where the sculpting ended on this. I'll show you guys this in just a second. Just kind of wiping a little bit more out. Let's see, are there cheaper kits for beginners? Yes, absolutely. It depends though what you are referring to as cheap. So like, what's your budget? I can say with confidence that there pretty much are, no matter what you do, there are cheap kits available. I've seen kits as cheap as like 500 yen on, you know, legitimate kits as cheap as 500 yen on auction sites, on Mandarake, etc. So it really just depends, you know, what you're looking for. At that like price range, you can't be entirely too picky about the character, I would think. But if you're just looking for something cheap to practice on, then yeah, absolutely. Maybe 30 to 50. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't think they would be poo-poo at all. Yeah, the price with garage kits does not necessarily equate quality. So that's something I want to be very clear on here, is that you can have completely garbage casts that cost $150+ and you can have absolutely perfect casts that cost like $20. The problem here, like, and the reason why there's such a huge discrepancy is because these are small pieces of artwork created by sculptors, and so in the end it's really going to come down to the quality that artist put out, how good the cast was when they made it, and whether they sent it to a workshop, whether it's, you know, an officially licensed garage kit from a company, because, you know, companies like Kotobukiya and Volks, etc., they all produce garage kits as well in different price ranges. And so it really will come down to like what kit you buy, not necessarily where you bought it from, and on the secondhand market, and then, you know, how the cast looks. So hopefully that kind of helps in explaining it. I've definitely gotten my fair share of like absolutely perfect chibi kits for 20 bucks, and I have plenty of kits that are 80 plus. One of the worst kits I have, I paid 200 bucks for because I wanted it for, you know, the fact of owning it. Hey, thanks for the follow, Creerbree. Am I saying that correctly? Thank you for the follow. We're just talking about kind of the price ranges of garage kits right now and how price does not necessarily mean good quality. Because yeah, I was saying that I have an ancient garage kit. I actually showed it on one of these prior streams, and it is a mess. Made in early 2000s, not pleasant. But again, yeah, I paid a lot of money for it because I really wanted it. It was one of my holy grails, and one of the ones that I saw and was like, I want to paint kits. So places to check for kits, authentic garage kits would be secondhand sites such as Mandarake, Surugaya, Jungle, Yahoo Auctions, etc. Some of these will require the use of a proxy, so if you're not familiar with a proxy or forwarding, you can also go on my website, and I have a guide on how to proxy and forward. So I made that because I noticed a lot of people in this hobby, and myself included, had no idea how to purchase this stuff. And a lot of these figures are locked in Japan, and so you need to be able to find ways to get them out of Japan. Let's see, Photoshop the eyes in. Yeah, maybe I will. What I do a lot of times, like for these types of figures, is I do go into Photoshop and I edit the color of the sculptor's like paint job and their eyes and stuff to see what would work, and if I like the colors. So there are many things possible in Photoshop. And let's see, oh gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely go on my website, plumworkshop.com, and I have that guide. I made it not too long ago. It should be the first or second link on my guides, and I cover a bunch of the websites like Yahoo Auctions and Booth. Pixit Booth is another big one these days. That's not so much a secondhand site as it is like it calls itself an indie marketplace. And it's really a place for garage kit sculptors to sell their original characters and some licensed characters on the market. So not at a festival. You can just buy them when they open up their orders. So that has been wonderful. I have ordered off of Booth many times at this point because I do like painting original characters, and it's just a lot of fun. So it's absolutely wonderful being able to finally get some of these original characters, because getting them outside of festival time is nearly impossible, and a lot of times trying to find them on the aftermarket also impossible, because resellers are not looking to sell original characters. They're looking to sell the most popular stuff, like, you know, Sabers and Everything Fate Go and Ozerlane. So it's been great being able to find them. Let's see, I haven't had time to talk during this conversation. Feel free to talk and ask questions and ask again. I'm happy to rant about this stuff all night. I really like talking about garage kits and where to find them, whatever. Any questions you guys have about this hobby. This time is also for you to talk to someone who's been in it for a really long time. So I'm more than happy to, answer anything that you guys have. Hopefully I can answer it, but I'll try my best. Thank you, Mr. Frike. Yeah, that guide on how to build a kit, oh my goodness, it's pretty much ancient at this point. So I made that guide long ago when I was basically hand painting with acrylics. So I made it, with the intention of people who are going to get started in this hobby, and a lot of people do start out doing that, and so, that's kind of the one to check, I would think. I also was in college, undergraduate at the time when I made it, so it's made kind of in mind with a budget, because, when you're in college or when you're younger, who has like a ton of money to dump into stuff? I know I didn't. So some of the supplies I've used in there are pretty rudimentary, but I use everything in there to this day. And if it's not, I've basically said I've moved on to this product. So hopefully that will help for those of you who are scared to take the jump. It's really is a very fun hobby. Otherwise I would not have stuck with it for so long. It takes a lot to keep me in a hobby, but I've always enjoyed painting these kits. So I'm noticing I'm just it's really not focusing, this camera, so I apologize for those of you who cannot see me do this face up close. We are getting there with this eyelash, so I'll zoom in a little bit, hopefully. Yeah, you can see kind of the left and right here. The left is the one, this one is being cleaned up right now. So Pretty drastic difference, you know, one that looks kind of globby and the other one is getting there. A good thing too is if you, you know, if you erase too much or you wipe too much away, you can always just re-add it again with the enamel paint. So, especially with these really soft, pointy eyelashes, sometimes I'm wiping too much off here, so I gotta go in a little bit with a softer touch and get it. Luckily, this is all sculpted onto the kit, so it's a little bit easier here. All we're really doing is following the contours of the eyelash, and we're not erasing too much more than that. For fully flat faces, it's a little bit harder because you really have to shape the eye as you're wiping away the enamel. So here there's like a definitive sculpt, you know, and if we erase it if we erase like an area, you can see it on the sculpt. On a flat face, you have to keep eye position and everything in mind, so it's a little bit more difficult. Once I continue streaming, I think the next kit that I have, I will try to make it a point of it not to have sculpted eyes, and so that way you guys can see, you know, eyes being drawn on rather than me just wiping away at a sculpt that is already pretty defined. And let's see, have I considered making a Discord for garage kits? No. Well, Discord for me and garage kits, I guess. No, I have not. There is actually one that I know of, but I am not in any dedicated garage kit Discord servers. I'm really active on Discord. I basically live on there, but I kind of try to stay away from the garage kit community. I know that sounds bad, but I'm kind of just a hermit in general, and I don't really engage unless it's like people who reach out to me and, you know, want to engage with me, mostly because, yeah, I just don't want to. But I am in like some figure collecting Discords, and they usually have a garage kit section, either because I made them, or like I made them make one, or there just is one because a lot of this overlaps with Gundams, and so I found that usually even in those figure servers, garage kit builders are pretty much the minority, and a lot of people overlap. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of overlap of people who are active in this hobby, so if you like know one person, you'll find out about more. Yeah, fellow hermits. Oh yeah, Loki, I've been trying to get more active on Twitter. Really, I honestly, like, Twitter is the best place for garage kit engagement for Japanese people. So like Japanese people don't use Discord, or if they do, you know, I don't know if they're using it for garage kits. But using Twitter for garage kits is like the way to do it now, and it has been for many years. So I started out using Twitter just so I could follow, you know, more garage kit artists' work, but now it's honestly just become like my art, like, I don't know, art inspo. Like, it's almost like a Pinterest. I just, you know, like everybody's art, I retweet stuff. I am also addicted to Genshin Impact, so I use it for like Genshin Impact fan art, and just all sorts of my other fandom stuff. So yeah, it's really it's less garage kits and me posting my stuff, and more me like, ooh, look at this beautiful flower and Genshin fan art. So I'm sorry to my Twitter followers if you're expecting lots and lots of updates, because that's not what I use it for. I'm trying to be better though. I'm trying to like post when I stream and you know, post more figure updates, but really it's just my fandom account. Yeah, I love Discord, Mr. Freaky. I'm also a big gamer. Well, used to be, but a lot of my friends are gamers, and I guess I'm more casual gamer now, but I grew up with games, and so, and MSN Messenger, I'm dating myself, but Discord is like the evolution of that, and so I am on there way more than I need to be. Yeah, just all the time. I live on there. And let's see, Twitter art. Yeah, oh my gosh, Twitter cropping. Yeah, that actually was like, holy crap, they went ahead and changed that. Yeah, that was amazing, seeing all that full art just posted. Yeah, I hope that they put that on like desktop version soon, and also just like regular mobile version. So right now the Twitter app has the full crop and everything, and that's wonderful, but it's still cropping on those other ones. So hey, thank you for the follow, Rebel Star Raider. I appreciate that a lot. We are reminiscing, I guess, talking about Discord, Twitter, art, all sorts of things while I sit here and slowly wipe away paint off of this eye that I'm painting. You were on MSN Messenger too. The good old days, right? I'm gonna admit that half the reason I'm on Discord is because I like emoji and using my own emotes, and MSN was huge on that, so you could like add your own and customize your own. And so I have a Nitro subscription on Discord, and I just abuse the hell out of it. Like, I use so many emotes. I make my own emotes. I actually like had ancient MSN emotes that I saved and I put on my Discord server in honor of my friend who I used to message all the time. We used to exchange emotes and stuff, and so it's just really fun. I really love it. Let's see, when you first got on Twitch and Discord, you weren't bothered about emotes. Yeah, they're fantastic, and I feel like they just add, I don't want to say they like add a lot to a conversation, but they kind of do, because you can just like get your attitude across with the right emote, or just, you know, reply with an emote. They're just really handy, and to me it's less invasive than using a GIF. Just because those are like so big and they take up a lot of space, and so why do that when you could just add a tiny Discord Nitro GIF, you know? They're just great. So yeah, I'm all on team Discord, at least Discord Nitro emotes for now. Also, having Nitro has been super handy, and I can't recommend it enough if you're sharing art and stuff a lot, because the picture caps and the like what's the word for it? Not the detail, file size. So your file size is really like bigger with Nitro, and I found that like Google Photos and all these other ones are compressing my images, and so a lot of times I just need to like move a photo like of a kid onto my phone real quick, or vice versa onto my desktop, and short of like plugging in my USB or removing my SD card, the quickest way is just to throw it on my Discord server and then just, you know, take it up that way. So that's been really helpful. Oh, thank you so much for your comment, Raider. I just saw it. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, we're doing this now. It's a slow process, but we're getting there. Let me show another update, I guess. So we're working on the left eye right now, and so you can see the difference here between the two. One is a lot nicer looking than the other one. Let's see, I should send you the link to the area. Yeah, oh yeah, send me an email or message me on Facebook or wherever, and I'll take a look. I am on a DDR server. I don't know if that's the one that you're thinking of, but that one was really fun. Let's see, it helps stop misunderstandings. Yeah, very much Mr. Freaky. Like, you get the tone across, you know, or you can type /S, or just like, if it comes out bluntly, you can put the right emote, etc. So I really enjoy it. Yeah, I did say I was on DDR server. I do like DDR too. Again, games. Big on games. But I don't stream games or anything like that, because I'm pretty much a solo gamer. I don't really, like, I haven't been playing a lot lately. I do play Genshin Impact every day. I am kind of addicted to that, but more so because I just like doing the dailies and then, you know, following the story and stuff. And so I'm pretty casual in terms of, you know, doing things, but I do all the events and stuff. And so I have a couple favorite characters. I really like a lot of them. I don't want this to turn into me like fangirling about characters because I just felt myself going that way. But yeah, I really, really like that game. So I've been seeing figures start, like figure models start to pop up in ZBrush, etc. for Winter Festival Shanghai. So I am hoping that we see a lot more soon. And I would be painting those couple of those characters in a second. Like I would probably drop what's on, not commissions, but I'd drop like my personal stuff just to paint a couple of those Genshin Impact characters. So fun. I also have the Klee figure pre-ordered. So there's a figure of Klee from Genshin Impact, this little girl whose whole thing is like blowing people up with explosives. And so she was my first 5-star character in the game. And so yeah, holding a special place in my heart, I had to buy the PVC. So I'm excited for that one to come out. Let's see, I know a cosplayer who plays Genshin. Her list of cosplays is getting longer by the day. Yes. And let's see, I want to play Genshin Impact today. Hype yourself up for it. Aw. You should play it. Oops, I just spilled some enamel. Yeah, I don't like try to, I feel I would burn myself out if I play it for too long. Mostly because then I'm like using up my resins and stuff. And so I try to limit myself to like an hour a day, and that's enough to get like through all the resins, check on my house because I got the housing system now, look at my characters, do the daily commission. Like the list is growing longer and longer in terms of like stuff they're having people to do, and so man, like the playability in this game is crazy. Let's see, I know a cosplayer plays Genshin. Sorry, I know I read this before. Her listed cosplay getting longer. Yeah, so the characters are a huge reason why I'm still sticking around. The character design for pretty much everybody I really like. They're all super detailed models. Their, personalities are really fun. And so there's really only a couple of characters in that game where I'm just like, alright. But for the most part, for everybody, I'm just like, oh my god, it's so great. I have a really hard time trying to figure out who to level up because I like a lot of the characters. And so I end up like just sticking with the same characters. Like I have a pretty consistent team. I'm trying to like move this. I spilled a bunch of enamel, so it's getting weird, but yeah, so I pretty much stick with the same team that I have leveled up for, and I have, played for a while now, so I haven't changed too much because it just takes so much materials and like the money to change things. That can be kind of a pain, but if you're just going in with the intention to play and have fun, then it's no problem. I'm like AR 55 at this point, so I'm really getting up there, and so at this point, like I'm pretty much out of story content, and anything I have to do has to come from events, etc., or grinding dungeons. And so a lot of times getting the artifacts is such a pain. Oh my god, like, oh man, yeah, the artifact grinding in this game is the worst. But yeah, my team is right now, and it kind of switches at the moment. Sorry if you guys don't want to hear me rant about Genshin, but my team right now is Klee, and then Bennett is my utility, which God bless Bennett. He is the best. He is my bro. Like, I love him. Fischl, I use Fischl a lot because I have her at Constellation 6, and so once I do the E skill, like Oz stays on the field, which is nuts. Like, that is insane. And then I kind of switch out between Mona. I use Mona a lot, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, Tartaglia, or Child, and I got him because I really like him, but I've been switching him out with Klee lately too because he's really good with Fischl. So yeah, I have a bunch of people at this point. I also got let's see, I don't have Eula, I skipped on Eula, but I got Zhongli in the last banner, so I'm trying to save up all my shit for him, etc, etc. So yeah, I play a lot and I really enjoy it. Also, today's Fischl's birthday, so yeah. For those of you who don't play Genshin, I'm sorry. Like, it's just me ranting. But I really do like it. In terms of other games and stuff I've been doing, I play a lot of Pokemon Snap, so I love Pokemon Snap. I played the original when I was a kid. This new one is so much fun and so relaxing. And so a lot of times if I'm not feeling well or I have a bad day, I'll just go in and play Pokemon Snap, and it makes everything so much better. It's just like basically the photography app, and so I don't really I'm not playing crazy games here. I want to take photos of nature and walk around in a forest, and that's pretty much it. I played so many other games growing up, and now I'm just I'm old. I just want to sit in the forest. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, so back to figure talking. I basically, for now, finished up this left eyelash, and so I'm moving on to the other one. I'll probably do a couple touch-ups and look at it really close once I've got this other one wiped down a little bit. And that's usually what I do, is I kind of clean up one eye and then work on the other one and try to get them roughly aligned, and then I go in and I fix all of the details later. What you can also do, if you're painting the eye and it's a flat surface, is get the main base shape down, and then you can go in and add eyelashes and stuff either on that layer or by wiping away paint or by adding new paint, etc. So there's a number of ways that you can paint eyes. There's not really any one set way. And I think I was talking about this last time, but a method I've kind of seen sculptors start to do now, and a lot of this was influenced by Tsukima on YouTube, Tsukima Songyo. He does an outline of an eye first, so he paints it all in orange, and then he goes in and paints on top of that layer for the actual eye color. So what I'm doing here is not the eye outline method. I'm just kind of going in with the color that I wanted to paint and wiping away the paint that way. So again, there's many ways to paint eyes, and even with the same method, there's different ways to do it. So don't ever feel like you have to do it some certain way just because you saw it on a YouTube video or someone told you to. Because I basically change my method all the time, and I'm pretty inconsistent when it comes to eye painting and styles. And again, every kit is so different, so you're never really, you can't apply the same method to every kit. I've had kits like this, the sculpted lashes. I've had kits that are literally like a Nendo faceplate, and so the whole thing's flat. Those are the worst. Majority come with decals, or not decals, sorry, eye sockets. So they give you just a guideline of where the eye is, and then you go in and you know, paint the eyelash and fill in the eye socket with white. So yeah, just kind of depends. Okay, let me position myself. Okay. And yeah, what we also did is I think I went in underneath here, yeah, and I painted a lot of this brown, but not sure how much of that I'll keep. One thing you do want to make sure of is that your eye lash thickness is kind of the same on both sides, and so really the hardest part about all of this is trying to get everything symmetrical, or at least looking almost the same. You know, there's no a lot of times there's no way for you to make these super accurate other than just being careful. So especially if you're painting freehand eyelashes and stuff, it can be challenging to get both eyes looking exactly the same in terms of the size and the proportion, etc. That definitely does take a little bit of getting used to. So if you're not familiar with painting anime eyes, I do recommend learning how to draw them, or at least drawing them on paper, because that has helped me a lot in finding out, you know, how to position eyes, what size they need to be on both sides, left and right. And let's see. I'm new to the anime garage kit world. I mostly paint plastic miniatures. Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, sorry. A lot of overlap between minis and garage kits in terms of like supplies and stuff, but a lot of the methods are totally different. So it's really cool being able to, you know, take what you learn from either hobby and apply it to whatever, you know, you want to do. There's a couple of things in like mini world and also like resin bust worlds, like Western busts, that I wanted to try on kits, but I just haven't had the time. One of them is called, what is it? Zenithal lighting. Am I saying this correctly? Zenithal lighting. It's basically where you use like light to dark primer or paint or whatever and apply it on a figure or a miniature, etc. And then, this is a weird song. I'm getting distracted. Yeah, so you'll apply the lighting like before you even start painting, and that will give you an additional bit of depth when you're painting or spray painting, etc. I thought that was really cool. I have never really seen that in the garage kit world, but it seems to be used pretty commonly for that type of painting. I'm really impressed with people who paint minis because it's just such a small canvas. Like, I complain all the time about, you know, oh, I work with such small kits compared to my, you know, peers and stuff, but really you guys are on a different level entirely. You're painting tiny, tiny things, and so the amount of highlighting and detailing you're able to get is just absolutely insane. I'm so impressed with it. Sorry, I gotta focus for a second. I think I'm gonna take my sponge and go in here. But yeah, if you guys are ever, you know, considering jumping into this hobby, chances are you probably have a lot of the supplies already. Find it's a lot easier for people who are into painting minis or painting Gundams to jump into this section, you know, of building, because the techniques and stuff do overlap. And a lot of people that I do know got their start in painting minis or Gundams, and so they had the skill set already, but they just needed to figure out how to kind of alter their technique for garage kits, because there are a couple things that are different. And yeah, I don't know, it just depends on like the painter. I've seen paint jobs that are like absolutely amazing, and then sometimes people go in too heavy with the acrylic paint when they just start out painting garage kits. And so if you do use acrylics on garage kits, the advice is always thin your paint like a lot. Golden rule, right? Thin your paint to a milky consistency. That applies pretty much no matter what. Let's see. Oh yeah, Booth is a very, very dangerous place, my friend. Be very wary of Booth. I've spent far too much money on there. But I do really like it. It was never really an option for, you know, builders before, and so the introduction of that means that we just have so much more access to original kits and supporting the sculptor directly, which is 100% what I'm all for, as opposed to, you know, buying a kit on an auction that may or may not be scalped, and then you supported the sculptor with those dollars, right? But then you also supported the scalper who took you out, you know, another extra $100 or whatever. So this way, the artist gets more money, and not just like your secondhand website or your reseller. So, short of buying at a festival, that's probably one of the better ways to, you know, purchase kits. I do miss festivals though. Thankfully, it seems like Treasure Festa 3 was a success. Heard many people got a lot of stuff there. Treasure Festival 4, sorry, is also scheduled now. I think it's this summer. Last time I checked the TFO website. So they will be having another TFO this summer, and then Wonder Festival Shanghai. Is that this weekend? I think it's the 29th, right? That is a Wonder Festival held in you know, Shanghai, not in Tokyo, or sorry, Chiba, wherever they, yeah, it is held in Chiba. And so that one will be really fun to see. I'm not necessarily expecting like garage kits and stuff to come out of that, because a lot of times you're not really being able to purchase kits like that if they're coming from Shanghai. But the art style and everything is totally different that comes out of there, so it's really fun to see it. A lot of really mythical and elaborately detailed kits are on display there, so that's really fun. A lot of monster kits too. And then yeah, I think Wonder Festival is like the actual festival is still a go this year. From what I heard, they have not canceled it yet. So, and I've also seen people applying for permits and stuff to sell there. So hopefully that happens this year. It would be great for Japanese people to be able to start doing that again. Unfortunately, I do not think that a lot of international people, if any, will be able to go. Given that, you know, Japan's vaccine rollout is still really not happening and it's taking a long time. So, and I'm not sure how travel is happening there. I think it's still banned there, right? And so, if anything, this will be just like a very local festival this year. Also not sure what that will mean for the aftermarket, so that will be interesting. Okay, let me take a quick look at this a little more up close, and let me show you guys what I'm doing right now. So I wiped away a lot at this point. Here's a good view. And so what we started out being really globby, we've kind of cut that down a lot. She has very defined eyelash now, but I need to go in and make sure that like the lines here are all accurate and that I'm not missing any of the eyelashes. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting there. It's gonna be a slow process. Also, let me grab her face, or not her face, her hair, so I can compare that really quick, because we do have to check the position of that hair with the eyelash and make sure that it all matches up. So let me grab that. Okay. So yeah, good thing about magnets is we can just kind of, you know, snap the pieces on. So face will go on here and eyelashes here. We did opt for a brown eyelash this time as opposed to like the typical anime black one. You can also see, well, kind of hard with the lighting. This eyelash is kind of covered up here, and so, thank you. Yeah, we got pretty far on this one. The colors are really bright on this camera. She's not this like a, you know, Jean Grey orange in person, but you know what, whatever. But yeah, so you can see that the eyelash here is not covered, or it is covered more so than this one. And so one kind of sneaky trick you can get away with if you're either pressed for time or you're getting frustrated is check your faces with your hair, and that way if any of it gets blocked out, you can kind of skirt by getting that detail perfect if it's going to be covered up anyway. You know, I try not to do that. Sometimes I do, but like in this case, you wouldn't even see really that top eyelash. So this one right here, you won't really see this one when it's covered. So if push comes to shove, you know, you don't really need to focus quite as much on that detail as opposed to this eye where you're seeing all of it. You really kind of want to make sure that everything's good there. So I'm liking these brown eyelashes a lot. I don't really typically paint lighter brown eyelashes, so this has been a nice change. Another thing that you can do, or that I'm doing now, is once you have the hair on, I find it's a little bit easier to spot imperfections or things that you didn't like about your paint job. So I just noticed that the eyelash here seems kind of off, so I'm gonna continue to wipe away and check on this until I get it where I want it. And this is a very slow process, at least for me. I spend a lot of time making sure that my eyes on my figures are exactly how I want them, often with very sharp lines, because kind of end of the day, the thing that people, and at least my clients, everyone that I know, I think eyes are most important, right? Eyes are kind of the gateway to a figure. They really make it or break it. And so you can have the most beautiful paint job, but if your eyes are not, you know, looking anime or looking how you want them, it can kind of ruin the figure, in my opinion. Oh, that reminds me of a good point, which I have not brought up until this point. Eyebrows. So we didn't even cover this topic. I didn't even think about it until now. But eyebrows are not sculpted on this kit. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. You can see they very much are not on this kit. And so one thing that makes your figure look really uncanny valley and kind of not, like it's not recommended, not great, is skipping out on eyebrows, because they are super important. They frame the face, the thickness of the brow, the type of brow, the expression of the eyebrow, whether it's, you know, facing down angry or kind of curved up like it's worried, those will all have an impact on your figure. So looking at this again, I don't think that eyebrow is needed on this side. I will probably do it anyway, but an eyebrow is needed on this side. It would kind of go right like around here, just very thinly, and then that way you can see it in between the hair. So there's this gap right here where an eyebrow could go. That was not sculpted on, and so we will do that at a later date. A lot of times what I do is I paint the eyelash first, and usually like the base color of the eye, and then I go in with my eyebrows, and so we can do that later. And let me look at this figure again. I'm gonna open up this. Yeah, this one does not have eyebrows, and so it looks like it could work without eyebrow. What we can do is, you know, paint one on and then check to see if it looks kind of okay or not. But looking at that photo, it looks like she can, you know, be without eyebrows and would be okay. But now that they're missing, I kind of can't unsee it. So I'll have to go into Photoshop and see what adding an eyebrow will do to this kit and how it changes the kind of aesthetic of it. Okay, I don't want to wipe away random stuff, so I'm going to look at this really close. I have it right up to my face right now. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is painted and it's looking good. Looks like I can kind of get in between this eyelash a little more, so I'm going to do that. Let's see, do I prefer painting or going with decals? Interesting, Raider. We did have this conversation earlier this night. So it's interesting, a lot of people are bringing this up. All of my eyes to this date are painted on. So I have never formally used eye decals on the character itself. I have, however, used water slide decals on like characters or accessories that come with the kit. So like little, you know, pets. Oh no, not at all. I'm very happy to answer this question again, because it does come up a lot. And it's a lot of people's concern, you know, can I use decals with a kit? So yeah, personally, I have not used decals. I use them if they're included with like, you know, pets or characters that come with a kit, but not for like the human figure itself. I do have kits that have decals, and so I, you know, some of them I intend to hopefully use, some of them I don't. A lot of times I get figures with decal eyes, and then after I've built the figure, I just don't like how they look. Like I feel that the eyes are either too small or they don't frame the eye sockets well, and so in that case I just opt out and I paint them on myself. Also have clients that have sent me kits that do come with decals, and they don't want them used. So decals, like adding them cuts out a lot of the time. I'm gonna be honest here, like I spend a lot of time painting eyes. You guys can see it here. And so being able to use a really nice decal can cut your build time by hours. And so if you like the decal and how it looks, like go for it. Like there's no decal discrimination here. Like I don't think less of anybody who uses eye decals, and a lot of them actually these days are getting really advanced and more detailed. So that's exciting. There's, you know, some of them that I've seen are just like, wow, is that a decal like on the eye? And then, you know, the paper itself goes on really thin, and so you can't even really see the paper line. And so that's really cool when that can happen. I got on a tangent again about that. But yeah, I really like decals if they're well made and if they look cute. In that case, I don't really care. I gotta bring over one of my kits that does have eye decals that I really like. Maybe I'll do that. Let me go grab one out of my closet real quick. You can see there's a little, little sparkle there. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull open my closet. I think I have a kit like right at the top, and so yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. So here's a really good example of a kit that's really nice that has decals in it. So let's see, let me read your comment first. I guess painting your own eyes gives you the most control. Yes, that's pretty much why I do it, Raider. Is a lot of times, like, to me it feels more personalized. Maybe there's something that I want to add, or I don't particularly like the eye shape of the decal. Even if I liked the coloring of it, if I don't like the shape, then it's kind of a wash, right? And so you really have to like the decal as a whole. And so here's a good example of a kit that comes with decals, and one that I really like. This is a kit by the Circle Whoopie Pie. So it's a little baby nurse mousy. I really like all of the sculptors like stuff, to be honest. Like, it's very much my style, right? Like cute chibi. But it comes with like decals in it, and so you can see here that it comes with a decal sheet. And look at these decals, you guys. They are so cute. Like, they are so cute. And so this is like a decal that I would use. You know, the eye is really well crafted, I guess. Nice and round. The coloring is really nice. So you can see here, and these are water slide decals, and so you would just dip them in water and then put them on the kit. Let's see, it's not really focusing, huh? Let's see. Maybe, well, whatever, you can see it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, these are super cute. And also it came with a guide that's relatively new of how to apply these. So really for water slide decals, all you're gonna do is cut the decal out. You put it in water for, 10 seconds to a minute, depending on the paper. You take it out with tweezers, and your decal will like slide off. And so this is let me see if it will focus. Yeah, I was gonna bring a bird kit out, and then I saw this one on the top prize. But yeah, I love these Whoopie kits. But yeah, so this is basically the decal sliding off of the paper, and then you just stick it on the eye. And she's saying, put it on in the eye socket. And so this kit comes with eye sockets, and you stick it in there, and then there you go. There's your decal. So this is like actually a really simple but great guide on how to apply decals. So I really like it, and I'm gonna save this paper actually, like when all is said and done. But yeah, you can see you can get a lot of detail in these spaces. And decal sizes and stuff will vary, but sometimes, like in this case, they can be a really great option if you're dealing with a small space, because let me pull out the face plate for this kit so it will come out. This is the face, so it's pretty small. It's about half the size of this one. Well, maybe not, 2/3 the size. Yeah, so it's a little bit smaller. But the smaller you're getting, sometimes the harder it can be. Thankfully, like, this is a chibi, so her eyes are nice and round, but eye sizes come in all sizes. So, really, if you're uncomfortable with painting eyes, there are options out there. Whoopie Pie has some of the best decals I've ever seen in terms of like them looking really cute and being high quality. Other than that, they kind of just vary. Sometimes the sculptor will include them, sometimes they don't. I find it's a little more often now that sculptors are including decals, but still, like, I've had old kits that come with them too. So in the end, it's really whatever the sculptor wants. I do recommend, these bird kits and the little nurse baby Mousy and all the ones from Whoopie Pie if you're looking to get into kits too, because the breakdown on those is pretty good and they have a lot of the typical problems that kits have, such as seam lines, etc., but nothing too crazy. And the resin is really nice and white, as you just saw, so those are always recommended. And I've seen a lot of people, beginners, getting into this hobby with that kit. It's the bird kits, as we call them, are a very popular choice for people just starting out these days because it is an original character, it's easy to find, etc. So you can see yourself putting them on backwards. Thankfully, so there's no like reflectioning happening here. You don't need to like turn it over and apply it on. The way that a water slide decal works is it's like on a paper, right? And so once you put like this paper into the water, the decal paper will soak up all that water, and then the thin little decal plastic will just slide off. And so what you see was what you get. Like you'll apply the decal with the same side. So like, you know, if we slide the decal off here, this side would be the sticky wet side that you put it on, but the image will still be here on the front side. So you won't need to flip it over at all or reverse it. But yeah, do be mindful of which eye you cut out, because that can be the problem, is switching them. But thankfully, like anime eye anatomy is relatively straightforward. You know, you get the eyelashes and then they kind of curve on this side and come out this side. And then, you know, you just know that's the right side. Okay, turn this a little bit. I think we're getting close to kind of wrapping this one up. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing before I grabbed that. There was a little bit of extra paint in between these eyelashes that I wanted to wipe off. So let me finish here. This is where that really tiny brush comes in, super handy, because you can get these really small areas. And what you may or may not see me doing occasionally is going in with this spongy tool and kind of wiping off any of the extra paint that just gets kind of left in streaks on here. This is a Gaia Notes product, so it's just a small sponge tool that is used in eye painting mostly to wipe off larger paint areas that the brush can't handle. So what you could also do is just go in with a brush and wipe off the paint. Or a Q-tip. I also have like precision toothpicks / Q-tips, and I use those as well. But I've been using more out of this sponge lately. Since I started using it, I've kind of found out why people like using it. And now I'm also becoming a sponge converter. Okay, a little bit more on this side, a tiny bit not straight. So, might be the eye sculpt though. Yeah, no, that's my problem. Right now this shape is almost good, and what I'm doing is cleaning it up even more. So I really want it to be perfectly straight or curved in the way that I want it to. And there's kind of a bump in the paint right now. So, like I said on Monday's stream, we're aiming for really smooth lines here. You know, you can have it in any shape you want, but you want a smooth line. Okay. There we go. Oh, there we go. I think I got it. Take a look again. That's pretty good. I'm wondering though, it looks like the inner corners of these eyelashes are not pointy. Yeah. And what I mean by that is that this inner side right here, yeah, will focus. And I'm trying to point, but it's kind of hard. So this inner side right here, that will focus again, is rounded. Whereas this side here is a like sharp triangle point. And let's test the limits of my camera. There we go. So you can see the sharp point on the outside, and then the inside is rounded. that is a sculptural choice, so the artist decided to sculpt the lashes that way. A lot of times anime eyelashes are not rounded on these inner corners, they're also pointy. So that's something that we could, you know, alter. I could, you know, go in and add more of a triangle shape, but I'll have to see if how I'm feeling. Just a matter of adding more paint. But I kind of like these rounded cornered lashes because they go well with the circle or the circular area of her eye. So yeah, it's a lot of like, you know, do you follow the artist's stylistic choice or do you want to do things your own way? Wipe off a little more. Now, if only we had one faceplate, we'd be going a lot faster, but unfortunately we have to deal with both of them, so after this one, I'm just gonna switch over to that other plate and start shaving the paint down on that one too. A lot of extra here I need to wipe off. Yes, this is very much a cutesy kit. I liked this simplistic style of this one, and I felt it would be a good way to show beginners or, you know, anyone really how to do things, and that way it would be easier to explain. So hopefully that is working. I never formally asked you guys if it's working, but I felt it's a little easier to describe this stuff. Good way to show different technique too on like a simple canvas. Okay, I'm gonna check how this is looking. Oh, just a little more. So right around here, there's a little bit too much paint. And the reason I can say that is because we're following the sculpt and I can see the paint bleed from the eyelash onto the skin. And so I want to get that as close to on the eyelash as possible without having it go onto the skin. That makes sense. Now let me try. That's much better. And there's a tiny bit here. I think this eyelash has given me trouble before, so I'm gonna have to go in and add a little bit more paint because on the very corner of her eyelash, some of the paint came off, or maybe I just forgot to add it. Usually I mix this with another brush, but we're dealing with such a small amount here, that's fine. Okay. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and start wiping this off. I'll have to look at the inside of the eye in a little bit. Probably return to that later so we can get started on this other plate. Maybe I'll just do it now. I'm not sure. Let's see. Of course it's working almost. Oh no! I feel like a lot of times I'm just more people's dealer than I am like showing them stuff. That's not the first time I've heard that phrase. One of my closest friends, I got her into building because I just did nothing but bother her about buying kits and, oh, look how cute this is, and blah, 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 blah. And now I think her collection's bigger than mine at this point, or it very much is close. I've got a lot of unpainted kits, but she's got a lot too, so it's pretty funny. And I feel like once you start buying these, they just multiply. Like, that's the builder's problem, right? Even if you paint minis, if you paint Gundams, like, you always have a closet, you always have a stash of stuff that is unpainted that needs to happen, and you'll get around to it. And working through the stash is like the dream, you know? This year I've been pretty good though. I bought a lot less this year than I have in years past, mostly because there's no festival access, right? But yeah, this year and last year I did cut down my purchases. Haven't bought quite as much. I kind of put it upon myself to try to start working through my pile, because I do have a lot of stuff that I want to see displayed on my shelves, and so it'd be nice to get through some of those ones. Yes, that's what we call, that's the positive way to say it, right? A pile of potential, just as high as you know, myself in the closet. No big deal. But that feeling when you do take it out of the closet and it gets built is just so wonderful, right? So it's always great. Okay, I just did decide to go in kind of on the underside here and try to clean up some of these lashes. So really what I'm working on now is we've got the top shape, the top and all that's done, but we're working kind of in here now, if it will focus. Yeah, kind of in here, so in underneath the eye, and making sure that that matches up with everything. And there's a little more leeway here with the underside and the eyelash kind of bordering the actual eye, because you will be painting your eye, and so if you paint too much, you can always just paint over this layer and then it will be covered up by your base color. But really I just like to kind of get it nice and smooth from the very beginning, and then I don't have any problems during the actual painting process. This left one is pretty good though, but the right one needs a little bit more work. And this I think will be her main face anyway, so I'm putting more of an emphasis on this face than the other one. Meaning she has two face plates, right? And so I can choose which one I want to display. But I really like the look of this one, so I'll probably use this one more often. Everything's so clean on these kits. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing too. Yeah, garage kits, there's usually not like as much texture or detailed clothing, etc. And so a lot of the emphasis on painting and build jobs in this hobby is a smooth paint job, right? Clean lines. There are absolutely, of course, exceptions to this rule, and there are many, you know, realistic style garage kits, really detailed kits, kits with animals, monster kits, etc., where you can get away with dirtying it up a little bit, you know. Oh yeah, and that's a good point, Mr. Frike. What you're seeing now is like the final aftermath of all of the hell that we went through. Yeah, there was literally 2 months of cleaning this kit up. Granted, I only stream 2 days a week, right? So like, you guys are only seeing 4-hour chunks total. But this kit was a nightmare. Let me see if I have a photo on my phone of her apron in the very least, and so that way for you newcomers you can see what we went through, because it was dramatic. Here's a good photo. So this is her apron. Hopefully my camera's kind of, there we go, ish. It's a little blown out. But so this is her apron. All of these red dots here are areas that we filled in with a putty. So I didn't get that as a complaint. You're good. And yeah, this is a Bondo memory. It's so long ago, you guys. But yeah, all of this is putty, and so basically everything we went through in this point was to get this cast looking really nice and smooth. Let's see, here's another one. So we basically just puttied her face, everything. We puttied everything. The side of her face had some holes, the top, her hair. We did the whole thing. Oh, here's what her top of her head looked like. So I forgot if this is this faceplate we're painting now or the other one, but yeah, all of this was corrected. And so finally we are here doing the very last bits, you know, painting the eyes, cleaning up the last bit, and then she'll be beautiful and ready to display. So garage kits, yeah, they can be super nice and ready out of the box. They can be horrible. They can be anywhere in between. So that's just part of the exciting bits of this hobby. You never know what you're gonna get, right? Okay, let me look at this one more time, but I'm actually pretty happy so far with how this looks. Yep. Looks pretty good. Let me get a little sponge off here. And one last check here. Yep, looking pretty good. So at this point, it's all nice and clean on this faceplate. So we're gonna just set this to the side and start working on the other one. If you were, you know, if you only had one faceplate at this point, you would be done. And so the next steps you would do is take your gloss top coat and then coat over that. Usually it's a lacquer gloss, so Mr. Hobby brand, etc. And then you'll be able to continue. But in our case, we have two faceplates, so now we're going to start working on this one and just see how far we get. Difference between this faceplate and the other one. So let's do an up close view so you can see the comparison. If I can get it to focus. There we go. So here's where we're at now. One faceplate is clean, one is still messy. The difference here is that the eyes are not indented on here. So you can kind of see the outline here, but it's still flat. What we're gonna have to do is clean up this eye outline here and make it kind of follow the contour of the indent. So that's an additional thing we'll have to do. Also, something that I noted on Monday was that this kit does not have a white eye socket. A lot of anime kits do, majority of them, but this is a different style chibi kit that does not have whites in her eyes. And so next time we'll just have the base color in here, and we're gonna go straight into the base color after we clean up this eye outline. There will be no whites in this kit's eyes. Well, on the outside. Thank you so much, Mr. Frike. That's really kind of you to say. Hopefully now you guys, yeah, have a, for those of you who follow me the whole way, you have a firm understanding of how long I take, how long it does take kind of for me in general to build kits, because I do get kind of crazy about details and stuff like this. And whether it's going to a client or someone else, I like the idea that I've done everything that I can to a kit when it's sitting on my shelf. There are of course always limitations to what I can do, and I'm always trying to improve, but it's always a journey, right, in art. So just do the best you can and you'll get skills as you level up. That sounded really nerdy, but it's true. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm kind of going around the face here and the eye, and I'm wiping off any of the extra paint that somehow made its way up and onto the skin tone here. So the eye is indented, and it does have an outline here, kind of a guide, and so I'm going to wipe off all of the stuff that's kind of on top and out of that guide, and that way I'll have a better idea of how it will look, how the lashes will look with this faceplate. I'm not going to go in and clear up this kind of inner side though yet, so let's see, there are times. Yeah, it's true. You're not wrong. A lot of this stuff though is so difficult to see with a camera, but only your eye can catch it. So I am glad I was able to do that though, because then that way you guys know I'm not crazy and see that I'm really actually am working on stuff, even if it's 2 dots. Those 2 dots matter to me, okay? Okay, so also you can be a little more liberal with your sponge here if you're just wiping off big areas. So what I generally do is I wipe off the kind of big portions, and then I go with my sponge and it soaks up all the extra enamel thinner. And that's pretty much that. Actually, clean up this side here. Some of this is a sculpt issue, I think. There's like an uneven line here that's making it so the eye isn't perfectly round. And so I'm gonna try to see if that's not something that extra paint is causing. Oh yeah, that helped a little bit. So we're gonna leave that for now. So I'm gonna work on the top eyelash and then I can go back and kind of clean up the eye there. And in terms of moving forward, these eyelashes are definitely going to be done the next time that you guys see me on Monday. Hopefully, I've got a lot of other stuff I need to wrap up. So I'm hoping to get these eyelashes done either tonight or on my own time. And I'm hoping to lay down the base eye color this weekend, but I'm not sure in terms of my availability if I'll have time to work on this face plate. So we'll see how it goes. I got a lot of projects on my bench besides this one, and so if not, we'll just continue eye painting on Monday and I'll lay down the base color. And so that way you guys can see what it will look like with one color on top of it. What I'm getting at is that because eye painting is so time consuming, there are portions of time where I prefer to skip ahead and paint not on the stream, but I'm not sure if this weekend will be one of those times where I can do that, so we'll try our best. We also do have her shoes to wrap up, but that's not gonna happen tonight for sure. And I'm not even sure if it's stream worthy, so I might actually just work on shoes this weekend instead of the eyes. I think a lot of you guys would rather see me paint eyes anyway. There we go. One thing we did notice while we were doing all of the sanding and stuff on this kit is that the casting was pretty much exact for this figure as the other faceplate, and so I'm hoping that's the case here with the eyelashes and stuff as well, that they're sculpted exactly the same. Which is weird. I don't know how the sculptor did that when this kit looks like it was all done by hand, but the faceplates look almost identical. Even the casting defects were all identical on both faces. Just so weird. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to wear my glove too today. So a lot of times when I'm painting, I'm just wearing a latex glove. I try not to get the oils on my hands onto my kits too much. Less of a problem when they're glossed up, but when they're matted down, you know, ready for your final put together and stuff, you really want to try to avoid handling them. But in this case, it's fine. I'm just gonna keep holding it. We're already far enough tonight. I just keep rotating it, as you can see. We really want to try to be able to wipe the paint away from all angles. Sometimes you may not have the right angle to do that. Sponge. Hairy. Weird. You do also want to keep your space as dust free as possible during this step. Kind of in painting in general you want to do that, but with enamels especially, because as you're thinning down these small areas with a tiny bit of thinner at a time, if a tiny piece of dust gets introduced, it'll kind of dry into your paint job pretty quickly, so you want to knock out any dust you see right away and kind of push it away from the area you're working on. There's absolutely been times where I've kind of thinned down my paint and added dust, then the paint dried because the enamel thinner dries so quickly with it, and the paint or the dust is locked in, and that's the worst. So okay, let me take a look here. Okay, we're getting there, but there's a lot of small areas that I have not wiped down enough. Okay, I'm gonna start going in between the eyelash now. I'm starting to wipe off a little bit too much on that other side. Oh. These are some pretty thick lashes. She has very luscious lashes and rounded too. A lot of this is pretty rounded. A lot of anime eyelashes are pretty sharp. That's good though. Like, it can be tricky getting that really ultra fine point, so we'll speed it up a little bit if we're less concerned about that and can just kind of round out the shapes. Let me see. Ooh. I think the lash is a little bit different now that I look at it. She had to match the sculpt of the eye, and this is a little bit more of a lazy, sleepy eye than the other one, so it is not exact. I was incorrect. This faceplate pretty cute too, though. This one would be really cute with an additional eyelid, so I think I might do that. So this is the sculpt of the eye, you know, this faceplate, but you can also introduce other lines such as eyebrow, etc. As well as what I guess it is literally an eyelid. That's another thing that's pretty common with garage kits, at least the final builds, is adding another eyelid. So you'll have your eyebrow, but then a lot of times if you look at anime eyes, they have an eyelid kind of sculpted on as well. Not sculpted, but drawn on as well. It's a very thin line that's right above their eyelashes, and so that's usually not sculpted on a kit. Sometimes it is, but more often than not it's not, but it's very common to add one when you're painting eyes. It's just a really thin line. So I may or may not do that. Again, this is a pretty chibi eye, all things considered, so I'm not sure how introducing, you know, an eyelid would go on this, but that's what like photo editing is for. So you take a photo of it and then you just kind of draw in it with the photo editing app, and that will tell you if it will look good or not. I do that a lot. Okay, this definitely needs some shaving down. Oh yeah, it's a very smaller eye. Very curved and sleepy. Here's what it's looking like so far though. So you can see the left is getting cleaned up. The right is what we kind of just slobbered on in terms of paint on Monday. So what we really want is that clean looking, you know, cute outline. You can see as I'm moving it, you can see the sculpting detail of the eyelashes. So we want all of that paint to only be on those eyelashes. You don't want any oversplash like over here or like, you know, in between the eyelashes. So patience is the game here. Slowly getting there. And like I said on Monday, once you think you're all the way there, you know, see if you can wipe just a tiny bit off, because a lot of times I feel like I'm really close and then it turns out I just need to take off like a tiny bit more and then it will look perfect. So thank you. We are getting there. This is the time consuming portion, I suppose. But it's cool being able to see them right next to each other, you know, because you guys see the before and after, and then a lot of times I just post the after on my photos. So getting to that point is interesting, I think. All right, I'm gonna go inside now, the inside of the lash, at least the top part, and that way we can start to really define the detail and see what the eyelash is gonna look like. Want it nice and rounded again. And this time we do have the inner eye here, this kind of flat eye, and we can just have the eyelash curve around the indent here. Good, I'm glad that you enjoy it. I was hoping that people would enjoy kind of seeing the progression of my work here, and just to show you guys how I do stuff. It was a hard decision to come to this point, but I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I'm able to talk with you guys and answer your questions, share my experiences, etc. Okay, this is pretty easy, this one. One thing you do want to make sure though is when you're working on the inner corners of these eyes here, is that you're dealing with any indents or bumps, that everything matches up. So I wiped away a little paint here. Oh, let's see. Let me read this first. Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely get some sleep. And yeah, pre-K is pretty much the same. So you guys, you guys need to get some sleep. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check out my VODs if you're not able to make it. If not, I also have a YouTube channel that I'm just kind of dumping my Twitch stuff there. So same thing, plum workshop. But yeah, make sure to get some rest. Thank you too for tuning in. I hope to catch you again soon. Let's look back at this eye. So I was talking about inner eye corners. So yeah, have a good night. You can kind of see here that this line is not lined up with this line, and so it's nice, and then it dips down and goes up again. And so again, we want smooth lines, and so what I'm going to be doing is kind of clearing up this tiny dip and making sure that all of it is one smooth line before I go in and start messing with the inside of this eye in the circular round portion, so this portion here. Thank you, Hollow Eye. Yeah, I know you for a while now, so I'm glad that you're able to catch in my streams as well. Hopefully it's been a little inspiring for you too, that you've been able to get some work or at least some knowledge. That's the thing too, we're just sharing knowledge here. A lot of these techniques and stuff are gate locked by Japanese, or you have to be directly in the Garage Kit community to know about them, or know people who've tried stuff, so it'd be a little hard to get technique info. Okay. It's interesting seeing who's tuning in on this Thursday as well. There's a very, very, very likely possibility that I will need to push or change my streams entirely once grad school starts, once my class dates get locked down. A lot of the grad school classes I'm taking are evening classes, so they might overlap with this stream time. So just a heads up, I'm not 100% sure, what the dates will be at this point because they are subject to change, but this Wednesday, Monday time may not be permanent in the near future, just kind of heads up. That's good. It's always good, Hololight, to get, a huge amount of info and figure things out before you start as well. I did that for actually quite a long time before I jumped into kits as well. I'm the type of person that likes to research things a lot before I fully commit to a decision. So I did a huge amount of trying to understand garage kits and figuring things out before I jumped in. Of course, back in the days, that was mostly like forum boarding, and pretty much all of those are dead at this point. So both good and bad. There's so much access to the internet now, but at the same time, like the amount of information can be almost overwhelming or difficult to find because there's just, again, so many places where stuff can be now. And you really gotta kind of jump into groups or Discord servers or, other things in order to find the people who are in the hobby. Any hobby, really. They have Discord servers and stuff for just about everything now. Okay, I'm cleaning up this eye corner. And after I get that all locked down, I'm going to start working on the inside of the eye. So this kind of inner circular part. I did start kind of wiping that down, but then I noticed some eyelash problems, so. And I'm surprised I haven't needed to use any toothpick yet, or Q-tips yet. Usually at this point I would have gone in with a Tamiya Q-tip for something and a sharpened corner, but this eye sculpt has been pretty nice. There's a lot of forgiveness here, and it's kind of jutting out, and so it's very easy to wipe off the enamel and not worry about anything else. Okay, so what we will do now, start to work on the inside of the eye. There's a small portion here that I wiped off when I was kind of working on getting these lines lined up. Let me do that a little more. Light bit here. There we go. Might need my tip for this part. Or might not. Seems good. Okay. So I'm going to wipe down kind of along the corners of the eye now. I'm going to work from this side over here. And I will add a little more paint once I get this line a little bit thinner. So really, I'm just taking off a tiny bit of paint at a time, trying to keep this shape circular. That's the big thing here. We want to get this line as smooth as possible. It can be pretty difficult to do. A lot of times, even my eye outlines are not perfectly circular, just because, like, we're painting by hand. It's really, really difficult to get absolutely perfect lines. closer you look, the more faults you're gonna find, etc. So be kind to yourself, especially when you're painting eyes, because it is tough. Okay. Let me get about halfway and then I'll show you guys where I'm at. So, let's see. You can see I've kind of been working on, whoa, that was close, I almost dropped that. Working on this now. So we're working on kind of getting this eye really round. And on the right side of that, it's kind of hard to point or else my camera will mess it up. So we're thinning out this area. We still have to correct kind of this area right here. And I do have to fill in a little bit more paint on this corner here. So let me do that. I'm gonna use my junky brush to get this paint thinned out. And then I'll go in with my tiny pointy brush. All right. We don't need a lot of paint at all. Oops, put too much on there. There we go, that should, a little more here. Okay, a tiny bit too much, but that's fine. Good thing about this, again, it can be wiped down. But I do find that the more touch-ups you try to do and then you put too much paint on, like it just becomes a process of you working on the eyes for way longer than you need to. So it's always good to apply your paint correctly the first time. But I rarely do that because I'm not perfect. I'm human. It takes me a while. Okay, I do need my sponge though. It's getting hairy here too. Like there's some dusties that are starting to sneak their way in there. Gotta keep it clean. Let's see. Working on this cute kit makes me think of Sakura Mochi Fairy. Sakura Mochi Fairy? That sounds adorable. I read Sakura Miku at first, and so I was like, oh, that's totally reasonable. That sounds adorable. But that sounds even cuter. Is that the one? No, I'm thinking of a different one. I could have sworn I saw you post this one original one that you had, but she had like a big dress. But I think of a lot of kits, so I'm probably just imagining something here. Okay, this is getting tricky. So let's see. Let me see if I can use my precision here. There's a really, really tiny portion area here in the corner of her eye where it's not even. And I put on too much paint. And I'm trying to thin that down while not removing the eyelash. There we go. And again, you do not need a lot of enamel thinner on your paintbrush. The more you put on your paintbrush, the more it's just gonna kind of deposit onto your kit. And so if you're trying to remove a tiny bit of enamel and then you put on a bunch of thinner, you may end up taking areas off that you don't intend to. So kind of a warning there. All right, I think I got that mostly to where I wanted, so I'm going to continue working around the other side of this eye here. Start cleaning this up. Thankfully we have this lovely little eye outline, and so a lot of what's going to end up happening is it'll just be along the outline of the eye, not on the flat portion. An interesting thing about this kit. And you can make your eye outline as thick or as thin as you want. That's another thing that's kind of just like the beauty of kits, is that I know I keep saying there's no right or wrong way to do it, but you really can do it however you want. So we can make this eye outline as thick as we want it, honestly, if it was a stylistic choice. We could also make it super thin. That's pretty common with anime eyes, is they have a really thin eye outline, and then all the other details are kind of squished into that eye. So I like both ways. I've done it both ways. You just kind of got to make sure, if you're going with the bold eye outline, that you have enough room for all your other stuff in there. So your pupil, your iris, your sclera, blah blah blah, all of that. Actually, the sclera is the outside part, right? So not that, but everything, all the details inside. The eye shine, that's your tiny canvas inside of your eye canvas. So if you make your eye canvas smaller, then you could be impacting all the other stuff inside. Let's see, it says on the page it's made by Kato Drama. Can you link that, if you don't mind, the MFC page to it, or the sculptor page, because I'm not sure if it's on MFC. Let me get a drink too, by the way. Also, I know we just hit 10 p.m. I just noticed it. I'm gonna go a little bit longer because I'm still feeling confident about this eye, and I think doing maybe like another half hour will make it so I've at least finished most of the eyelashes here. Hello, Wheeler 8. See, we have a question. How often do I top coat between paint layers? So in terms of the eye painting here, pretty much every layer is what I do. That's part of kind of the enamel eye painting method. Is, you know, you got your base skin tone, you paint your eyelashes on, you'll top coat your eyelashes and your, you know, eye outline to make that safe. Then you'll paint your base color on, you'll top coat again, and so with every layer you're adding, adding a protective layer there. And it really depends on the eye complexity. You know, you can certainly blend things together. You can add details and eye shine on the same layer. So there's different things you can do. And you can do as many layers as you want, honestly, but I found there is a threshold for how many layers you start to add, where your gloss starts to kind of affect your face plate, if that makes sense. So the colors will generally get a little bit more muted or change slightly depending on how much gloss you're adding. If you add, you know, white as your first color, and then you add a bunch of glosses and top coats and colors on top of that, by the end of that, the whites of the eyes are going to start to look a little bit more gray. So the less layers you can do, I found, are generally the better, but, you know, to each their own. I kind of, at this point in my eye painting journey, have done more eye layers because I feel more secure that way, but I'm starting to try to cut it down a little bit because I am noticing that colors tend to get a little more muted the more gloss you're adding on and the more protective layers you're adding. And honestly, at the end of this, like, you're gonna be flattening your face anyway, and so you do, you know, want to just keep that in mind, that even though you're adding all of this gloss, you're gonna need to matte the face in the end. The final product, she's not gonna be all shiny like this. She's gonna have a totally flat face and look totally matte, and that will look different, you know, compared to this. The colors will be a little bit softer because we did add a pearl top coat. She's gonna have a little bit of a shininess to her, but you know, it's still gonna be a flat paint job, so just as susceptible to flat problems. Let's see. Click your link first, Hollow. See if it's the one I'm thinking of. If it is, then I'm more impressed with myself than I thought. But that's probably not going to be the case here. Oh, this is taking a while to load. MFC, what are you doing? Oh, I know why. It's because it's opened in, what is it, Microsoft Edge. Okay, no, phew, it's not the one I was thinking of. This one is very cute though. I like how she's sitting on that mochi. That's super cute. She's got a cute face too. And color scheme looks pretty simple, so that should be a fun job actually. Aw, I like her little basket. And the leaf details are really cute too. That's sweet. You should definitely build it. Have a good night, Mr. Freaky. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up somewhat soon, so we're just gonna be working on more eyelash here. Nothing too crazy that you're missing. And let's see, I've always been concerned with enamel paint thinner affecting a lacquer skin paint, although don't have any concerns. Been doing this for a long time now, this enamel lacquer method, and I guess the one thing that you should be at least aware of is that you don't want to apply your lacquer glossed coat on too thickly, because that will, if you apply it too thickly and too quickly, it will start to dissolve that enamel layer and you won't get these clean lines. So we really just kind of take our time making this really nice and smooth, and that the eye is super clean, but all of that can be undone in seconds if you apply your top coat the wrong way. So what I generally have been doing lately is I go in with like a kind of semi-thick layer, just kind of coat it on real quickly and let that layer dry, and then I kind of do a couple more really thin coats of the lacquer thinner or in the lacquer top coat, and that way once that initial first layer kind of settles and dries on, I'm not quite as concerned about it dissolving and running the paint. It's also very temperature and humidity dependent, and so your results may vary depending on where you are. And let's see, thanks for any and all info. I just don't know that many others into the hobby, and I'm just learning all you can. Well, awesome. So have you been interested in garage kits for a while now, or into this hobby? It is a very small hobby, I can tell you that. And so once you kind of like worm your way into the community, it's very hard to leave. A lot of us know each other on a first name basis, or we're all in the same groups together. So it's very easy. It's a very nice community of people here in this hobby. And I'm not sure how the MFC community garage kits are these days, because I'm not really on MFC at all anymore. But it may have changed. I know a lot of people post them in blog posts and articles now. Let's see, you love this kit, so you're excited to get it. Oh, I thought you already had it. Is it like in a storage or something right now? Because I could have sworn that you ordered this already, but I may have been thinking of another one. I also left that figure collecting Discord hololive that you were on, because I just did not agree with the management, and I also just don't want to be associated with MFC anymore. And let's see, I've been looking into it for about a year or so. Interesting. Have you purchased any kits then, or are you just kind of gathering all the info you can? I definitely took, many months, probably. I mean, I honestly can't say if I took about a year before I got into it, but it was a while, because you really just want to make sure, one, that you have all the money for the tools, and then you have the right guides, etc. You have a few kits. Okay, so... Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I was saying there's a lot of people from Gunpla that kind of find their way into here, because, Garage Kit is a similar but different step, and so that's good. You won't have as much tool, problems or anything, and you'll know how to do a lot of that already. In that case, I was going to recommend you my Garage Kit guide on my website, and it's on MFC, but it sounds like you probably already have a good idea of what you're doing and finding resources. But if you're interested, on my website, plumworkshop.com, I do have a guide on how to build a garage kit. It covers everything from basic steps, supplies, up to painting, but it doesn't consider airbrushing, so it's really, I only use that with acrylic paints. Let's see, I have a few others I want to get to first. Ah, gotcha. That makes sense, hololive. Yeah, I definitely have a couple like that too. You end up I don't know if it's just me or anybody else, but I've developed a queue in my head of kits I'm gonna work on in order. And Oh, thank you, Curry with Rice. That's my guides page, so I've got many things on that page. It does include my old garage kit guide. So, but yeah, I was saying if anyone else has a queue in their head of like, oh, I'm gonna build this one and then this one and then this one, and that should set me to December. Like, I definitely do that, and I can't really say if it's useful or not, but it does get me thinking about kits all the time, and so that's nice, you know. Good to have ideas and dreams of what you want to build. And let's see, the first kit that kind of drew me into garage kits is Yellow Star from I Has Toys and Deadman. Do you have an MFC link to that one, or a photo or anything so I can see it? I'm finding it so interesting. Everybody has, you know, so many different kits that they're obtaining, and the ones that like get them into the hobby, you know, and oftentimes it's like so different from the styles that I'm familiar with or anything like that. So I always like seeing people's different perspectives. Let me click this quick. Oh, this is a beauty. Is this 3D printed? Let's see. Nice and gray. Oh yeah, that's a super cool one. Very almost like Western style too. Not quite. Like she's got that kind of anime eye, but the very sculpted lips and the sculpted nose are not quite seen as much, I guess, in Japanese circles. I have seen that a lot in you know, Chinese circles and Taiwanese sculptors as well. But I really like that sculpt. That's really cool. A lot of opportunity for all sorts of different things, like shading and weathering and all sorts of, you know, cool stuff you can do with that one. That'd be a cool one to see built. Let's see, I didn't know I left that one figure Discord. Yeah, I don't know who's left in there, HoloLie. It was pretty much dead anyway. Like that server was pretty much dead. And so I was like, you know what? I don't really see the point in being here anymore. And as we had talked about earlier in this evening, I like Nitro emojis, and that server did not have very good emojis. Part of that's my fault, because I was like on there too. But I just didn't see a reason to continue being on that server, and I kind of left a bunch of Discord servers because I was trying to cut down my time on them. However, I just found that I migrated to other servers instead, so it was not a very good thinking on my part. All for the emoji. Wait, did they measure it in banana? I didn't even see that photo. Are you joking with me? Okay, no. 10 inches though, that's huge. That's pretty large, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's a big girl kit, or big boy kit. Let me get out my measuring too. Yeah, so that kit that you linked is longer than my stream here. It's probably up to here, and I'm dealing with something much smaller. And let's see, I don't know any Garage Kit Discord servers. What are some good ones you recommend? I'm personally not a part of any Garage Kit Discord servers. There is one run by my friend Toshki, Toshki on Discord, and so that's the only one I know of that's somewhat active, to be honest. There are a handful of Facebook groups that are Garage Kit centered, but the crowd kind of skews slightly older there, and it's a lot of more veteran, like, I guess not always, but a lot of the veteran Garage Kit people that I know kind of stuck with Facebook, and then the younger Garage Kit people that I know have kind of opted to start using Instagram / Discord / other things. And so it is interesting, actually. I'm noticing a generational, you know, split between hobby people. And then the true olds, like the old car dudes and stuff, they are still posting on forums, like some of them. Oh, and Reddit. So Reddit is another site like that has groups. There is a resin kit subreddit, but again, I'm not active on that. I'm not really part of it, so I cannot say whether that's a good place or not. Let's see. I also got this kit too. Let's check this one out. Ooh man, these are some awesome ones. Love them, like semi-mecha girls with like inspiration from it, you know? They got the armor, and I really like the face style of this, whoever's sculpting these. Ooh, and she got a nice booty too. That's a really cute one. I think I like that one more than your other one, just because I like the pose she's in, and she's got her big weapon. Is she holding a lollipop? Yeah, that one's super cool. That's, as we call, bad bitch energy. So she looks more like a baddie. I like that one. Let's see. I'll have to look around on Facebook too. Thanks for info. Yeah, no problem. There's two I'm a part of on Facebook. One is, I think, literally called Anime GK Figures. It's run by Leona Senshi. Her name's also Brenda. I won't say more than that, but I think it's under Brenda if you look that up. And then another one I'm a part of is a German group, but they all post in German, so I'm not sure if that would be like the one to share. These days I don't really use Facebook anymore either. I'm more on like Insta/Twitter, so I can't really say. But yeah, Facebook does have a bunch. Oh, there's some ones in Chinese as well, so if you look in Facebook, there are a couple of Chinese Facebook groups. And they're actually way more active, so they post a lot. And their stuff's always pretty cool. Really though, like they're kind of dying, the Facebook groups. Discord seems to be the way to go. And Twitter, but again, it's kind of hard to find a community on Twitter. It's not really a place to do that, if that makes sense. Okay, what are we doing here? Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Wiped off a little bit too much here. And this eye on this side is a little bit weird because there was a tiny resin bubble that I forgot to pop. Oh, I heard a Kermie. Hey, thanks for the follow. Corvus Oculum. Cool name. We are just kind of somewhat wrapping up our night now, but we've got a little bit more left till we're going, and we're painting eyes, so oh, yay, thanks to Wheeler. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're just wrapping up eyes, talking garage kit communities, talking cool purchases, you know, fun and engaging. And let's see, I'm sure there'll be plenty of new people now that Gora and Pecora have good garage kits. Yeah, that's a really good point you make there, Monkey. I am seeing kind of a new generation of garage kit builders pop up with these new characters we have. So, you know, a lot of the past couple years it's been a lot of Fako, Ozerlane, blah 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 blah, whatever. VTubers, you know, and YouTubers and virtual models are getting a lot more popular now, and so because of that, you know, there's a lot of really cute garage kit sculpts, which are bringing in people who may have heard about this hobby or wanted to try it but didn't have a reason to start painting kits. So, you know, there was like a really cute marine garage kit that came out a little while back, and that sculptor now did a Gar one that's new for this, you know, year, and so that one's super cute too. Pecora is really popular. A lot of people are buying kits of her. You know, it's just really cool. It's interesting seeing how the trends change. And let's see, I feel 3D prints are, yes, that too as well, Wheeler. Yeah, 3D printing has really changed the game here, specifically, you know, resin printing, because basically anybody can, you know, print a model from their bedroom and just start painting it and, you know, prepping it. And a lot of these models, you know, are fan made, and so you can get some really cool sculpts that, you know, you may not have been able to get if you didn't have access to a festival. Also characters that are, you know, kind of hard to get sculpts of so far, like Genshin Impact has, you know, a lot of sculpts coming out. I've also have a handful of friends that have basically kind of converted to sculpting in 3D and started printing their own models, and so that's super cool. One woman I know, Emerald Angel Studio, she started out painting Sailor Moon kits and kind of working on stuff, and has now moved on to sculpting her own Sailor Moon kits, and her stuff is really interesting. Her Instagram and stuff you can find under Emerald Angel Studio. But yeah, I'm really impressed with what she's doing and kind of taking her hobby to the next level, right? Because there's, you know, painting garage kits and buying and stuff, but when you become a sculptor and start producing your own stuff, like, I think that sets you another level. I think that's really cool. And then some other friends of mine have basically started in, you know, Blender, ZBrush, etc. And they're making, you know, tiny little chibi bunnies and stuff. But then you print it out and you paint it. And that's just, to me, it's so cool. So I really like seeing the direction that some of my own fellow builders are taking as well. And let's see, I saw a Pecora one today got recasted and on our recast site. That is unfortunate, but not very surprising. Yeah. Unfortunately, with, you know, these most popular characters, they are going to get picked up by recast sites who will try to sell a ton of models, you know, for cheaper. And so really it just comes down to, you know, are you willing to do that? Yet at the same time, especially for like Pecora and the other really popular VTubers, their kits are so expensive on the aftermarket. And so from a perspective of somebody who's just trying to get into this hobby, would you know, want to pay $30 for a figure? Or I guess it's probably more than that. Would you want to pay $50 or do you want to pay $500? Because I have absolutely seen that Pecora or like a Pecora kit sell on auction for 50,000 yen. Like, that's not uncommon. Corone and her friend, I completely forgot her friend's name, I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with VTubers. There's a pair of them kind of standing together and they're looking real cute. Those auctions regularly go anywhere from 40,000 to 70,000 yen. And so it's like, you know, you have the budget for that? Like, you know, some people do, and that's no problem. But a lot of us, you know, would kind of try to stop and think for a second. Do I want to spend $700 on a garage kit? You know, that's even getting up there with the crazy 1/4 scale pre-painted stuff. For a lot of us, that's just not reasonable. And so until, you know, there's always going to be that debate, right, of whether you want to buy original, whether you support recast, etc. I won't speak too much on the matter, but I am happy that it is moving to a point where people can start to sculpt their own 3D stuff, right? And so as long as companies aren't stealing that and then ripping that, you know, and people have the ability to buy models, that's opening it up a little bit more, and that's always nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, $500 for a kit's crazy. Oh, you should see. Yeah, it to me that's crazy too. Even some of my grails, like, I haven't paid more than probably 300, 400, but those were about the holiest of like kits, right? And any more than that, and I'm almost expecting it to paint itself. But, you know, if it's really one of your absolute holy grails and it's something that you really, really want, we do also have to remember that these kits are highly limited, very, very limited runs. Usually, you know, 50 copies or less, some as little as 10. So with limitation, you know, comes the exclusivity, and then the price gets jacked up that way. So this is unfortunately a hobby where that happens more often than not due to the nature of garage kits and how limited they are. You know, so it's just kind of hard to make the calls sometimes. But one thing I always try to tell people is, for the most part, especially if it's a popular character, your chance of getting it goes way up, because if it's a really popular character, chances are it's going to get, you know, sold again at different festivals, and so the price might go down a little bit. That was kind of been thrown into the mix because of COVID, and festivals were, you know, on hold for a year basically. But for the most part, that still applies. It blows my mind that people would like buy Grizzly Panda kits for like 3 times the price, considering how often they re-release them. Like, I've seen Grizzly Panda kits sell for like $400+, and like, they don't even sell out at the festival. Like, I've been to Wonder Festival, they don't sell out. They make so many copies, and so you know, that's literally just scalpers taking advantage of people who aren't aware of the hobby. And you can find them on sites for cheaper too. So if you see a kit, you know, hopefully if you have a grail kit or something that you're watching, you've been kind of tracking the price and seeing if it comes up at auction, if at all. And if so, you have an idea of what it sells for. It's best to go into this hobby with knowledge, so you don't get tricked by people who are trying to make a profit off of you, because that does happen quite often. Or people who are trying to sell you a fake, which happens anywhere. It happens on dedicated recast sites, but I am noticing it a lot more on Yahoo auctions and not so much, well, a little bit Mercari, but really more so like Yahoo auctions. There's been a huge influx of bootleg sellers there, which is so unfortunate. So just do your research. You know, you don't want to end up paying a lot of money for a kit that turns out to be fake, or get scalped out of a kit that you could have gotten for much cheaper. On the other hand, if it's a truly, truly rare grail that you've never seen come up, you gotta really weigh how much it is worth to you in that moment. And there's been a couple moments where I have seen, you know, kits that I considered, oh my god, my holy grail, go up, and they were way more than I was asking for. And you know, you gotta think in that moment, is this really worth it at that price, or can I wait possibly forever for a lower listing? Those are all things you got to think about when you're trying to buy this. In the end, like, let's not kid ourselves here. This is a, you know, superfluous purchase, right? Art is not 100% needed. It's a luxury. Like, you're not buying food, you're buying a garage kit, you know? So is it more worth to you, you know, than something else? Then you got to decide that. But really at the end of the day, this is like something special, and it's just art, right? So even if you do miss it, it'll probably come up again. If not, maybe it just wasn't the right time, you know? And again, it really just depends on the kit. Let's see. Saw Hagu on Yahoo auctions for 90,000 yen while she's 20 camp. That's absolutely insane prize. Absolutely insane. Yeah, people on YJ get crazy real quickly, and I'm gonna be honest, I have kind of not been checking Yahoo auctions as much these days, because one, all of the stupid recasters are on there now, and it's really difficult to eliminate them from your searches. And then two, the garage kit like tags and the search terms are getting really flooded by all of those pre-painted shonen kits. So for those unfamiliar with kind of the term garage kit, it has a dual meaning now. So traditionally it refers to what we're doing now. It's an unpainted, unassembled resin kit, made in Japan typically, sculpted by a private artist and sold at a festival, right? Well, now there's these other companies from China and other places that have taken the term garage kit and have started applying it to pre-painted large-scale resin pieces, typically like quarter scale from shonen series. And the only thing that those have in common with these kits are they're made of resin. So because they're made of resin, you know, they're given this garage kit tag. But Yahoo Japan Auctions is absolutely flooded with them now. Like, if you just look up the term garage kit, chances are you're gonna end up running into a ton of these, whether it's from Demon Slayer, it's from One Piece. Those are the two big ones I see. Dragon Ball Z is another big one. Just so many of those are popping up now. Yeah, to me it's super annoying because I'm not looking for those. Not to mention, like, I wouldn't be able to buy them anyway, and I wouldn't want to from Yahoo auctions. So just trying to get them out of the listing is proving difficult. I ended up having to introduce a bunch of, like, you know, search terms to exclude it. So when you're searching for something, you can just enter a minus sign and then, you know, whatever you're looking for. And so, like, I ended up just typing out minus One Piece, and this is all in Japanese, minus Demon Slayer, minus free shipping, because a lot of times they include, like, free shipping or whatever. And that does kind of tend to weed out some actual garage kits too, but whatever. Another one is like pre-order, so that's another one that's like typically on the listing that I get rid of. So, but now there's so much stuff that you have to do to try to escape these resins, that I've kind of like just stopped looking on Yahoo Auctions and moved on to Surugaya. I have always used Mandarake, so that's not really a big deal. And I guess Booth is the big one I've kind of moved on to, so it's just more trouble than it's worth these days, to just browse general garage kit listing on Yahoo Auctions. But if you're looking for something specific, like, it's still very good for that. So if you're looking, you know, exclusively for kits by Grizzly Panda, you would need to add in Grizzly Panda into your search term, and chances are that would pop up all of the authentic Grizzly Panda listings. A lot of times these recasters, you know, probably do have Grizzly Panda kits in their arsenal, but they don't market it as Grizzly Panda, they just market it as the character name. So you would get like Saber 1/8 garage kit, you know, schoolgirl, and that would be the term that would pop up. But it's probably similar to like American eBay, where they can't list the like actual manufacturer, or else they can get reported and dinged for you know, stating they have a product when it's actually false. So yeah, that's a general internet tip, Hololive. So if you're like, another way that I use it for is if you're going in Google image search and you're looking for something specific, you can take out like Pinterest from your results, because that's really littered now in any Google search result. So a lot of times I just like search for something and then I put minus Pinterest and it just sucks all the Pinterest listings out. That's really helpful too. Just kind of trying to use your search browser wisely, because again, the internet's so widespread now. So many ways to find things, so many sites that have things, results get cluttered real quickly. So alright, we're looking back at this. I'm going to zoom in again, and we are getting pretty good. I've done a lot of cleanup while we're talking. I'm going to go just a tiny bit longer. I'm going to try to clean up this area down here, but then I think we're pretty much good to stop after that. So you can see this face is getting really nice and clean. Here it is compared to the other one. So you can see this one on the right here has an eye outline, and this one does not. This was a stylistic choice that I wasn't sure if I wanted to add an outline yet, so that's still to be determined. We'll find out. I might add it when I'm, you know, finishing up these faces and starting to seal them down. But for now, we're just gonna leave it out. So I'm gonna clean up the kind of outer edge right now. A little bit more smoothing we can do. This is a weird part of the eye, and also this is a weird song. Okay. There we go. So it's very easy when these eyes are like sculpted for paint to kind of get into weird cracks, and so part of our job is smoothing all of this out is to make sure that there's no paint in those weird cracks, even if there is in the sculpt. So in the end here, I want a really circular eye outline. Thankfully, this eye sculpt is pretty clean. Not too much work needed to happen here. I like it when the eyes paint themselves, you know, like it's easy to follow the guideline. They come in really nice shape, so I don't have to correct anything. It's always very much appreciated. Sometimes that happens too, where your eyes are kind of sculpted weird, and so then you have to use color and shapes smartly to make that eye look more like it's supposed to. That's more of a problem with the sculpting limitation and the kit itself. Oh, there we go. There's a weird fuzzy that just found its way in here. And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna grab my, where's my Tamiya? Where did I put it? Oh, it's on the floor. Okay. Make sure this is sharp enough. I'm gonna kind of go in and scrape this. There we go. Sometimes paintbrush just can't get a little tiny bunch of paint, so in that case I go in with my precision Q-tip and it wipes it off real quick. Same with sometimes the corner of the eye. Dusty. And there's a little bit here I need to clean up. Again, we don't have to get too perfect on the inside of the eye because we will be doing another layer of paint on top of that, the base color of the eye. And so because we are layering that kind of color on top, it will blend in a little bit with the eye outline and smooth it out. I'll show you more what I mean either on Monday once I put the base coat down or once I do paint the base coat over the weekend. Again, I haven't decided, you know, if I'm gonna proceed what I end up doing, but I'll explain it to you guys once the layer's on. I'm gonna need to mix a little more paint here. The corners of those circles did not fill it in all the way, so we're gonna just lay that color down real quick. I think this is that like sad spooky song I was talking about on Monday. The vibe is very different here. Okay, where does that color go? Interesting. Oh, right here. Yeah, always turn your head around and look at it from different angles. Because what might look good at one angle would look weird in another one. And these are 3D pieces of art, so you ideally want it to look good from most angles. Of course, if it's only going to be facing front on in your detail or your cabinet or whatever, you know, there's really not too much concern there. Let's see, I just thought you have a cover, anything you put your pieces in when letting the paint dry longer. Excuse me. Personally, I do not. I know people that put them in like kind of a dish rack setup or one of those like heating areas where the paint will speed up and dry. Generally what I do is I just set the pieces on a paper towel in kind of a dust-free zone as much as possible. Or when I'm like airbrushing, I have a setup which you guys can't see up here. It's basically just a piece of wood that has a bunch of holes in it that I drilled, and so I have pieces on alligator clips. So I usually like they're either having a magnet on them like this, you know, oops, sorry. So it's usually a magnet on it or, you know, a piece of wire that I, you know, have attached to a piece like this, and then they all dry on there. But in terms of like a covered setup, I do not. Yeah, I don't do that. Just never really found the need to, but if you live in like a really dusty area, definitely useful and definitely something you may want to consider. Alternatively, if you have like a pets that shed a lot, that is something that might be useful as well. I have kind of half been thinking about one because I have a cat that really apparently enjoys shedding, and so a lot of times half the dust I see is like hair from my cat, but they're really long hairs, and so a lot of times they're, you know, pretty easy to not have in your garage kit, not get caught in it. The small tiny hairs that you got to worry about, the small black tiny hairs, because those ones they're immediately noticeable. Okay. Okay, I'm just cleaning up this eye down, or the portion of the eye down here, noticing it's not the same thickness as the other, you know, surrounding areas. So I want the same thickness for the whole eye, ideally. Or at least for it to match up, you know, at corners and such. I think we did quite a lot in this time, if I'm being honest. You know, it's not often that I'm able to get both face plates done in, you know, 2 hours or so. At least both of the outlines. Of course, we're also not drawing these on by scratch, so that helps a lot. We're really just following a guideline here. So yeah, if you're looking for beginner kits, consider something that does not have flat eyes. Will make your life a little easier when you're trying to paint, whether it's with acrylics or enamels, etc. Okay, let me take another look at this. You may also notice there's like a tiny bit, well, kind of hard to see on the paper towel. There's a tiny little, tiny little bit of white here. That's because when we try to fit it into her apron here, some of the paint kind of got scratched off, and that's fine. Like, you're not going to see that portion of the neck anyway, because it's going to be pushed into the Maid shirt and dress. So, but I do recommend, you know, once you get to this stage, try not to test fit your pieces too much, because you do risk, you know, starting to chip your paint off and stuff. And at that point, you've done all the prep and everything, so there should be no reason why your pieces don't fit. So unless you're, you know, doing a final test fit with a couple colors for a photo op or something, try not to handle and fit together stuff too much. Alright, we are just about done. I'm just clearing off a tiny bit more of the lines. Let me look at this up close. I'm pretty pleased with the eye thickness. The outline did a really good job of telling me where I needed to stop, so there's a little bit more on the eyelashes I think I can take off. Yeah, let's dedicate the last kind of 5 minutes to doing that. And then I will show you guys a side-by-side of both faces, and that should be enough for tonight. Ooh, this paint is just not coming off. Let me see. There we go. This has been a lot of fun, actually. I'm really liking these brown eyelashes. They're a little different and lighter than what I usually do, but I'm already starting to see this kit come together and look super cute. And a lot of times at this step, it's a little bit too early to say that, but I'm really liking it so far, so that's great. Usually, like when I'm painting eyes, they just look like really spooky up until maybe like the third layer, you know? Because then you got your white of your eye, your eyelashes, and your base color, and so you're like, oh, that's kind of what it's gonna look like. But then, like, you know, anything before that, and you're like, that's scary. Also, when you put an eye gradient on, like, that's when it really looks kind of scary, because she doesn't, or the kit won't have any pupils, and so it just looks yandere at that point. That's always fun, actually, to take pictures at the stage where it just looks yandere. I have definitely like seen a couple kits and I've been painting them, and then I'm just like, maybe I should leave it looking yandere, but no. Almost always looks better with eyelashes, or no, sorry, eye shine, unless you're going for the yandere look, which is pretty cool anyway. So fun, lots of things you can do with painting. I don't think I'm going to do an eye gradient on this one, just for the sake of like this tutorial or whatever. This is kind of more of a beginner friendly walkthrough. and you know, showing you guys what I do. But you can also do eye gradients with the enamel method. You just need to have the ability to spray enamel paint through your airbrush. So it will require an airbrush. You will need to thin out your paint, you know, to an airbrush consistency, and then spray that through and get the gradient right. And so that's a really fun technique. I started doing that maybe last year. Yeah, I think the first time I did it was the Abigail from Fate Grand Order, and since then I've done it a couple more times and it's been fun. But yeah, just, you know, even when you're painting stuff for so long, you can still introduce new ways to paint things into your arsenal, I guess, your building arsenal. Always new stuff. Okay, let me cut this down just a little bit more on this side, and then I think we're pretty much good for tonight. Okay, nope. A little bit more. I'm really just trying to cut this paint down as close to the sculpt eye as possible. I noticed a little bit more paint was on her head than necessary, so wiping that down. And let's see, am I going to use glitter for the indented eyes? Interesting. Yeah, I know that the original one does, so let me make this, you know, photo a little bigger again. Oops, it will let me. Oh, I locked it. Oops, wrong layer. So this kit, you can kind of see. There we go. You can kind of see the reflection there in her eyes, where, you know, the glitter is there. I don't think I'm going to introduce glitter for the eyes, because I'm not seeing it in the vision of how I'm imagining this kit. But of course, that's all subject to change. I may just change my mind, and you know, a lot of times, especially with these original characters, I go in with an idea of one thing, and then the kit just kind of like paints itself in a way. Just kind of, I get an idea and I try, and then I just decide, you know what, I don't think this way is better. And then I end up liking that other way a lot more. So I think we're gonna start flat, hollow light, and then if we need glitter, we'll go for it. Also not sure if I have any larger scaled glitter that would like work well in the eyes. So we'll have to see. You just gave me an idea though, so maybe, there's things we can do. There's definitely things we can do. We can introduce like one piece of big glitter as the big pupil for her eye. That would be cool. But I would have to go to the hobby store yet again, or the art store, and buy more glitter. I find a lot of times what I do is I get these ideas and I buy, you know, supplies, and then I'm left over with so much stuff, you know, because you only need like one or two of a thing. And then I just have so much extra left over from a project. So every now and then I try to do like a build where I just like use up old supplies and try to get rid of some of this junk in my closet. You don't want to throw it away. Who knows if you need it, you know? Alright, what's happening now is I noticed the eye outline was kind of larger than I wanted, and now I'm trying to shape it again. So I had a really nice smooth shape before, and now I do not. So this does happen a lot. I think I have it perfect, and then I don't, and so I just keep going in over and over. Let me look again. There's just a really, really tiny bit of paint left in this one spot, but because of that, it's making the paint job look jagged. So you guys definitely can't see it on the camera now, but I can, so. What I might also do is just introduce a little bit more paint and smooth it out that way. Yeah, what's happening here? Okay, I think I need my handy. There we go. So precision Q-tip is also fantastic for just sharpening lines, but you do have to be careful that you're not taking off paint with it. It's not really forgiving when it comes to removing paint. But it is great for these sculpted ones because you can kind of just push it along the sculpted edge. Okay, let me see. There's one portion here. I think I need another Q-tip, toothpick. Oh look, another spammer. You guys can buy followers and be popular too. Okay, let me grab another toothpick, a Q-tip. My God, I'm doing these two. Sorry, guys. Oh, that's the wrong pack. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I have another pack of Q-tips here. I'm just pulling out a fresh one because I found the other one was getting kind of dulled, and also I had some other paint on it. And so I was like introducing a color that I didn't want into the paint job. I need to ban that guy. Give me 1 second. Actually, I don't even know how to do that. Ruh-roh. Okay. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Block. Did that do it though, or did that not ban them? Nope, that's just me blocking them. Oh, ban. There we go. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Anyway, back to this. We will wrap this up now. I keep saying that, but you know, this is how these streams go, especially the painting ones, or the eye painting ones. Because if I notice something, I feel like I have to fix it before I end. What I did notice though is as I was shaving down this paint, now this other eye is a little bit thicker, so that will be something I will cover in my own time. Okay. There's one tiny bit here I just can't get off. Sorry. Okay, we're getting to a point now where rubbing this off is starting to affect the actual sculpt. So what I'm going to do instead is thin this paint, kind of put a little bit over the area, and then we will make it smoother next time, or yeah, whenever I get the time. And then I'll just show you guys where I'm at. There we go. Okay. And let me wipe this down. Probably good to wipe. Yeah, this is fine. And the sponge. Oof. Bang into my booth. This is the spot right here. A lot of what I do here when I'm painting eyes is just kind of trial and error until I get the shape I want. So if I brush off too much, I just go in again, and slowly it gets there. There we go. Okay, I think that's about as good as we're gonna get tonight. Starting to notice the kind of limitations of the sculpt, and you know where that starts to end, ridges start to form. In my own time, I will take a look at this, you know, and make sure that everything looks good, and that I'm really happy with the, you know, position and the everything painting, I guess. I guess that's a good place to kind of wrap up. So let me show you real quick what the eyes look like. Can also probably put them on sticks. That might be a little easier to show. Let's see if this is easier to show. Probably, no, not really, honestly. Okay, so do this and do this. And so here's my hand. Here are the faces that we just painted. Hey, thanks for the follow, Jimiel. We're just wrapping up, so we've spent all night, you know, past couple hours painting these faces, at least the eyelashes. We started out pretty rough, but now we're starting to get something. So these are looking really cute. Oh shit, as I drop it. And that's why we lacquer top coat, because then the piece is fine and it can survive a drop. So this is the faces. Not too much, you know, going on yet with them. They're just starting to get some eyelashes, but they'll be looking really cute once, you know, the hair goes on and once we do stuff. So yeah, every small step counts. Every layer in this case really does count, because once we, you know, finish one layer, we move on to the next one. The layer underneath that is not quite as, you know, movable. Oh, and I just saw Penla. How do I say that? Penila? Yeah, every small step does count. So, you know, anyway, what I was saying is that once we top coat this gloss layer, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to remove this brown paint in this layer. You know, we can add on top of it. So if we want to make the layer thicker, we can. But removing paint is going to be trickier. So we want to make sure we get as close to the eye style as we can, you know, from the beginning, and then in each layer we won't have issues after that. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap up for tonight. We do have enough people here tonight for a raid, I just remembered. So let me look at Twitch real quick and see what's happening. Also see if I can get this to focus for once. Oh, you changed your name. Okay, I was like, why is this person so familiar? Yeah, okay, Penny Wheeler. Just Penny. Either works. Okay, let's take a look and see what people are building. We have a lot of very interesting things happening tonight. A lot of like regular crafts. So we've got some Legos, we've got some pottery. That's cool. What is this one? That looks like maybe cosplay. Maybe not that one then. What is this? Let me open this one up and see. There might be an ad though, so I'm gonna open that. Bear with me for a second, guys. Oh, maybe this one. Wow, a lot of headphone building and keyboard building on Twitch. That's something that I'm a little not familiar with, but that's pretty cool. Okay, that's a shoe. I don't really care about a shoe stream. Okay, I think that I'm gonna go with this person. This person looks like they build models and minis, so I'm just waiting for this ad to end. It looks like perhaps they're working on a 3D print right now. Again, ads. Oh, it's a Photoshop ad. Okay, yeah. Looks like this guy's building some minis. Again, a lot of, you know, the overlap here is hand painting and working with smaller stuff. So what we're going to do is rate this person. Their name is Heresy Killer, so that's pretty cool. Let's do it. So we're going to end the stream. I'm going to ask to rate this person. So it was great talking to you all, and I hope to see you on next Monday the 31st, 8 p.m. EST. We will be continuing. Yeah, thank you for the great stream, guys. Have a good time. See you later.